I'm going and been accepting my guests for 5 hours. It's very quick, but the tortoise always prevails. Oh, sure, he does it with an iconic fight. The fight who would advance from the tortoise.
Yes.
Not to fight there. Could be worse. I mean, he looks cool, but it's terrible. Yeah, believe in Pablo is all he knows. Are you reading this project doing that? Okay, so hardest ones. It's either harder Darius or Windows Web. They're really well exploded. Just completely. Okay, buddy. There you go. This is and Nightmare Slave. I've done it! 276,000 I've done it! Me and my girlfriend is really like, she's way out of my league. I don't know how to do it. What? Fine, he's great at the new game plus. Please, I don't need new game plus. I need everything, every boss. The news I might have instead. Okay, so I missed a couple of what's the honest? Oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah. This lady. Oh, there's one challenge that it's like deeper ones. Apparently there's like any boss that's in.
Bill Heedle's popped up in it right now. That's good.
Well,
Statue.
also I didn't. The video is right.
For the figures of Cardinal, for the living life, it are the nerves that will update signals. My friends, what in the world did Kyle Dubas just do for the Pittsburgh Penguins? Today we are talking about 23-year-old forward Philly Koivunen, because the news posted earlier today that the Penguins have signed RFA Koivunen to an 8, oh my goodness, that's $32 million. $32 million total. And I get it, we're looking at the bananas contracts in the NHL now, $18 million per season, $17 million per season, $15 million per season. 32 might not seem like that big of a deal anymore. Until you realize Billy Koivunen has only played a total of 47 NHL games. Yeah, he's still wrong. I'm so sorry you signed him. For how long? This is either going to be a steal or the worst contract in the NHL. I feel like there's really no in between. Billy Koivunen, who was 23, 6 feet, 172, a left-handed forward, who was drafted by the Carolina Hurricanes with the 51st overall spot in 2021. I remember his draft eligible campaign, Koivunen was seen as one of these under-the-radar guys who had some really good advanced analytics, and it's why he was taken by Carolina of all teams, right? We always talk about Carolina and their analytics-based scouting, their emphasis on the finer details and just going beyond the eye test. Bill Koivunen was one of these guys that was definitely reminiscent of that role. But he found himself in Pittsburgh in what I believe was the Michael Bunting trade, if I'm not mistaken. I've been there a couple times. This guy had gone up and down from Pittsburgh to the NHL team. Plus, the trade, what you saw him get sent over to Pittsburgh in the first place was he trade, which included Colomaria, Lucius, and a bunch of other stuff over here. Gensel, Ty Smith, yeah, that was a really, really big deal, right? But looking at over the next few years, was up and down. First against and regular Pittsburgh Penguins. He was on the Cardboard, where he was a sub-Anthony player, and finished at 21 years old.
One more win, boys. One more win.
Then he has 7 goals in 39 Penguins games in the 5-26. So he went from a very good.
One more win, boys. You got this.
6 games or so. Not necessarily the best, but still, he was there. He was reasonably good.
Innings.
Ended the game showing those featured of the Olympics.
William Nylander.
Starts from games. 9 points in 15 games in the NHL playoffs. Not bad, honestly, but still a guy.
Silver.
The fact is, though, he hasn't done that yet. To the point that he is still wrong. He is still trying to break out as a Penguin that deserves to be on the Pittsburgh Penguins roster for 82 days. And so when you see a guy who is literally an NHL tweener, not only getting an 8-year contract, but getting an $8.4 million contract, oh my goodness, man. Tom McCoy goes out there and says Kyle Dubas is actually a moron, LMFAO. Probably the only questionable move here at this point. Pittsburgh, loser in OK says that the 26 buyout window will make it a low-risk signing. Okay, yeah, I mean, the 26 buyout window allows you to buy out the contract for a lot cheaper at a price. But he's 23 years old. There are 3 years left before Billy Corbin is beyond the 26 window. He also talked about some of the other replies here. Somebody will call this signing smart. He might be a moron. It's a low risk, not getting signed. He works out, it's a steal. If he doesn't, then the buyout is 200 to 400 per year. Because he can make it
He can. Just start. Play, James.
Quick pass to Matthews. Cuts into the paint. Oh, he gets the number on that. Seahawks makes a good save.
Shit.
To the corner, and this ends up the front of the net, and really no trash for second shot opportunity. Matthews all around the puck, and the puck is all around him. Look at it whichever way you want, but when you have a point streak going, it tends to follow you around.
You don't think everything with the maximum upside.
Make sure it's not your zone. That's the pressure. That's a smart play right there. Cleveland's penalty kill.
Play.
The fact that we can acknowledge that in of itself, in my opinion, I mean, so important. The honest respect to this stuff, I mean, to go to a big that starting like a guy, I'm thinking that's the every day. But there are some crazy upper grades signing this guy. 4.5 single, 5 for 2 years, 6 for 6. He's a few great respect to the skills. He's got a large box of other very protected skills at his disposal. We should give him my last knowledge to know how
Everyone knows it is just a dogfight to get to this point, and now it is in the building. You can see everyone is on in anticipation.
First time drop that into the standard because you're going to be scoring. If you finish second in scoring, I'd say that's the right roster.
That's a great defensive play at this time of the game, James. Listen, when it's not in your zone, they can't score. That's the best play in my mind.
Stop. What was that? Heavens.
Honestly, he was just waiting by the Maple Leafs to make a flag his own notice. Significant proficiency in taking on the display and including second hit prospects director of European scouting last year Hollywood. He was trapped. Whether that skill will sustain itself at high levels of competition is another matter. His fielding base is projectable. What happens when David is in the offensive zone? He's a triple threat scorer. Every bit as effective with his hands as Scott and his players. This is the strongest defensive ceiling that David has. But it feels like how this recognition forward because literally 5 years ago I said, hey, that's amazing. Let's get this guy to the $50 million to $88 million contract. He's going to produce 15 goals. He will be stealing 7 games. Again, that's not the first, but it's a huge but I don't think I've ever seen anyone off the bear that was nice. This player, I don't think it was here. They're not sure if they're going to have to expected. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be absolutely it's possible. We're down to 60, 70% player. If you are the best player in the league, like a match of first going down to the match, such a we're going to see what kind of comes with how much of the last week of the it's a really good but there's really a number to see again.
Toronto's won the draw and took possession here in the open ice. Nylander's got the puck. Oh, he had it beat, but it goes off the inside post. Goaltender covers it up. We get a whistle to slow things down.
Dave's not happy with that last sequence. Knows he has a huge opportunity and just misses the mark and brings it off the post.
Extra attacker on the ice. Big face up here coming up. Tavares is quick on the draw. Cleveland's got control of it now from their own end. Here's a short pass. Towards the gaping net. Great defensive play to get in front of that one. Swatted away with the stick in the defensive zone. Here's a shot. Oh, what a stop there. The time winding down. It is all over. This combination of stars, grinders, role players, they've all come together and have completed the dream of winning the Stanley Cup. The moment of truth has arrived. Lord Stanley is about to be handed out.
So much fun. You can feel and sense the dream is alive. It is right there, and I'm really curious to see who hosts it over their heads first, James.
And here comes Cap, the engine, the lifeblood, the heart and soul of this squad. He's finally a Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah, for the first time to be able to host that cup is an incredible feeling. Just imagine the emotion that's circulating through his veins. And he's done everything for this team, both on and off the ice. This is a deserved and earned moment.
As he gets his hands on the Stanley Cup, this is a well-deserving player the way he performed, Cheryl.
Yeah, I mean, he had the magic mitts out there, didn't he, James? He made everyone around him better, but it was his creativity to lead and assist, find those open lanes, tough to do during the playoffs when everything is closed off.
There's a physical price to be paid to win the Stanley Cup. He certainly paid it.
Well, he led his team in hits, and I mean, there's no question that the games get tighter and they get more physical. And the entire team garners energy off each and every hit. He was so effective when it came to his physical game.
know, for some routines, Cheryl, you say it's all that. I don't think winning the Stanley Cup multiple times ever gets tiresome.
Oh, it can be, James. And it's no fluke, right? You know that he plays in the regular season, how difficult it is to make the playoffs. And then to be able to go round after round. I'm telling you, he's seasoned, and that blends right through the dressing room.
And they're going to huddle up as a team and get one last picture with the Stanley Cup.
Commemorative photo. And I'm telling you, this is going to last. This party's going to go right to the dressing room. You can see them hugging. They're smiling. They're crying. Families around. I mean, this is the moment that you dreamed of. You got to soak it all up.
Cheryl, this is going past the dressing room, this part.
Way past.
Ooh, we did fifth pick. I want that right-handed D-man so bad. Look at this trophy pretty much all right. One Calder truck comes my with Calder in the Stanley Cup. And he's only 20. Wow, look at me. Shit, he really weak. Celebrated letter is about to put 87 now, damn. He has 2 years left on his contract. So he's going to get paid. Building. Persisi was not very helpful. I will admit that. And the trade out Persisi, I can afford to lose him. I don't like giving up for York, but my right side will be stacked with that prospects. He should have pulled Dito. Oh Christ. Ha! Take that goalie. You start shit. That's a bad hit. Whatever. And these are not 2 high-end defensive prospects to stack up my team, no. You know, I need definitely to resign my coach.
Probably down in front over.
Fuck, this want to resign. I don't have the fucking money.
Might not care to protect your home? No big deal. Thanks for homeowners, save more. Just one of many ways TV insurance helps you save. It's how everything insurance more human.
I have you on in the first place. It's very cool to look at on a shelf, and if a cool looking character is your priority, then maybe. The cost of technically this is stored in the game is that it's given its advantage to actually technically means that we sacrifice a number for the main storyline by instead. But however, it's understandable if you don't feel reluctance to do what he asks. The Alice will send us to high growth with orders to kill the born living there and bring back his home. The unicorn can potentially also become our mounts, however, it would sneak up on mountains. Not as good stats wise as the likes of Shadow and in the honor to that, there is just something cooler about them. I think unicorn, and you can't help but feel bad killings, especially when the person cries at the savior's hide. It's another mediocre gift like stats. Again, like in the last Carpenter's File, it's a very cool looking piece of kit with a giant wolf carved out on the front to us. It's effective resisting magical damage. It is situational best. Sure, there are plenty of spellcasters out there, and combined with other items enchanted with the same effect, so we can achieve 100% resistance to magic eventually. Again, there are a few scenarios where all the damage we're up against it's magical. A big place that the same is magic with, so it's actually it's very generous points of just 3. It's not so inconvenient to carry it around and just strip it on in areas with a lot of spellcasters. Then again, if maximum protection is what you're going for, then there are other lots of armors out there with higher protected stats. This is rounded up from the Dark Brotherhood, for instance, where these are about the same, has better stats, and then cool some we can also obtain what we
Fucking group 89. Okay.
simple stone which can grow up to 20%.
Wow, you can X factors as well. Shit. Look at that. Show shopper dialed in.
During that quest, you can find and kill a member of the Morning Tom. So homicides I've been using for about 20 hours now. Not only is the quest enchanted with the same 25% resistance to magic, it also fortifies agility and offers the same resistance to normal weapons. Just make sure that you don't have any quest after level 20, as the more atom armor will be less powerful if found at a lower level. And now you have the options of either keeping people alive, or else you found your daily artifact sacrifice for the main quest line. Unless, I mean, you really like the design and want to live them with. Available from level 10, Cat's quest to retrieve Volgram is kind of downly fun by doing a simple sample of Troll Fangster and Shrine. It'll immediately go off at one about our local draft of imprisoned and enslaved amount of ogres to work in the markets of his estates. Malagath added the notion that anyone in the game claims to own ogres, so we'll organize to head over there. Freedom. Your lady cannot tell that we've probably already killed hundreds of these things, so heading to the markets and freeing the ogres will result in quite certain tables for the brands. Going to get it. I don't know if those ogres will touch me. I guess now he knows how the ogres fights. And Malagath will benefit us with the 60 encumbrance way on the front. I want to free up some encumbrance points before doing this quest. Now, let me start off by saying, bladed and non-weapons scale they will actually be separately in this game. So, if you've mostly been using swords, maybe in for an awakening when trying to use this thing. It'll have significantly lower damage until you ready to transfer the skill up. Though, in the case of Volendrum, its base damage is just pretty low anyway. As an artifact originally made by the Dweller, this thing will actually have the same base stats as a Dwarf and Warhammer, which will eventually of course be fire shone by the likes of the Ebony David. It's also far slower swing than a sword and keep one-handed like weapons like the mace and Polar Bar, which scales with the same attributes. In fact, the only real saving grace for Volendrum is its enchantments. And not the drain health one so much that actually just means it'll temporarily reduce something health by 500 hits.
Yeah, you get phone station. Yep, I am definitely fucking paying him too.
Would cover that additional health, which is especially useless on other difficulties where things take longer. Now, Paralyze at least is good. You can't actually apply this enchantment manually to things in game, and the only other weapons you can get it on have been rapidly small.
Yeah, $15.5 million. He earns it. So bad. Yeah, he earned that contract extension, so I am giving it to him. He is my number one center. Evans is not going to come back. What? Spent the last 2 seasons here.
And depending on the enemy, it's a particularly tough one. Could use up all those charges on just one foe. But it is only one for foe one actually able to move at all. They have got a advantage there. But in standard everyday combat, so 3 seconds of paralysis is not as useful as it sounds, especially in larger fights. In fact, 2 seconds is about the time it would be waiting between hits anyway. So even if you are running a heavy tank build, only one miss this one.
She got to 89 overall. Fuck. Hopefully I stand into my kid actually, so you'll be actually way more fucking money. Wait, Johnson. Just a huge question mark on him now. Phil Pito, I think, has 1 more year left on his contract as well. We'll see who is coming up. Snowblighter. Guess Wolverine is still here. Needle's coming up. He's popping 84 down.
Your favorite Office 365 apps install an app. Updates and simple device management.
From the legs upwards, bringing a bottle of fine Cyrodiilic brandy to the flying sanguine will keystone this party at the quest. The events held at Castle Railway are said to be drab and wretched by Lord Sanctum. So, to liven things up a bit, we're told to simply head to the next one and cast an undisclosed spell. To get into the party, it's very simple. We just need to rock up in some fine clothes, and that's apparently enough to convince the guard that we're definitely meant to be there.
I don't know who you are, and I'm not all that sure about you. But you're dressed for it. Can't imagine dressing up for any other reason. Go on in.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2006 Bethesda logic. And the same thing seems to work on the lords and ladies in here as well.
I think Naomi would be better off if we removed all the dirty Argonians such as yourself. You wouldn't have a problem with that, would you?
Well, she seems like a nice woman. I wonder if she secretly tortures people under her castle. Anyway, it's sanguine neglected to mention that casting this spell will remove the clothes of everybody in the room, including us. And with all of our possessions now gone, we'll have no choice but to go to jail for Lord Sanguine. And after getting out, we'll lose us either. It'll attack everywhere and everyone thoughtlessly, and won't actually even despawn for a short while, even after the enemy we cast it on is defeated. Again, useful in a real pinch, but otherwise just fight the enemy yourself. I don't think you're actually gaining any XP by doing it this way either. Plus, I mean, if you really want to summon Daedric Leaves to do your work, then you can do so with far more control by just leveling Conjuration. Throw in the fact that the staff only has 10 uses and a full charge, and it's something else that will eat through soul gems if used regularly. Although, when it comes to Daedric saves, I just think this one is slightly worse than the alternatives. And you may also want to sacrifice this one to Martin for some more reasons, as when we give this to him, it will have something particularly interesting to say.
I never thought to see this again. I once possessed regularly. A long time ago, it seems now, to obtain it and then give it up. I honor your dedication to our cause.
Resisting the temptation of a powerful magical artifact, I've heard others played by Sean Bean failed to do the same. Straight on to another staff then, the Wabberjack is always a fun weapon. You never quite know what you're going to get, but for that reason, it offers little in the ways of reliable combat utility. It can utterly trivialize a 1v1 by turning a tough creature into a weak one, but it can also do the exact opposite. As always with Sheogorath, the quest to obtain it is one of the craziest and most interesting there is. By bringing a lesser soldier, head of lettuce, and a ball of yarn to his shrine, for reasons beyond our comprehension, Sheogorath will send us on a chaos-filled mission to bring about a doomsday prophecy in a settlement of superstitious Khajiits. Antics involving cheese, rats, sheep, and raining flaming dogs, which is just hilarious, if nothing else, and can even be read about later on in the papers. But do bear in mind as well that this needs doing before or after the Shivering Isles questline, so it's definitely worth coming here early. And we can start the quest from level 2 onwards. The Wabberjack itself, then, in Oblivion at least, only actually works on creatures, not humans, thus immediately halving the enemies it'll actually be effective against. It will also only be able to affect one enemy at a time, so it can temporarily thin out a cluster of foes if you're lucky, or again, it can turn a 1v1 into something easier, though fair warning, it can also prolong the fights indefinitely. See, if you don't defeat the creature in its transformed state before 30 seconds, it'll transform back, having recovered full health. Again, you better hope for a weaker transformation, not a stronger one. And like with the Sanguine Rose, it's good to be used in a pinch or a panic, but again, can arguably horribly backfire even worse than that stuff. And with the same 10 charges as the Rose too, it probably won't carry you through even one dungeon without utterly devouring soul gems. Plus, to actually finish it off, you're gonna need a different weapon anyway. Realistically, the Wabberjack is a fun novelty, which quickly wears off. So sacrifice it to Martin if you want, so in fairness, given its more unique nature, it is fun to keep and mess about with sometimes.
Big white, big queen for all the crew. Until we make them mad, I'm tending to the floor. To the quarantine, when my touch is gone. Throw it up the deck, you know, we come through. Big queen drumstick. The view of the open scary hair gear string of those your hairs and natural protein for stronger, fuller looking hair.
Ring of Mirror. As far as Daedric artifacts go, rings are definitely the easiest to keep hold of and switch out at your convenience. Plus, we get to wear 2. I mean, realistically, that number could be 10 or higher, but I get why they have the 2 to stop it being too overpowered. The most quest is available from level 5, but it can be a bit of a pain to start, especially if you've actually leveled that mostly useless skill that is personality. So make sure to start this one earlier, I'd say, where lowering personality is simple. In there, we'll only speak to those who are repulsive and disgusting, with personality scores less than 20. And we can achieve this effect by downing multiple bottles of wine. With that done, she'll send us to some nearby ruins, where followers of hers literally spend their lives in darkness, misery, and filth, and in above and beyond servitude to their lady. Though recently, priests of Arcade intruded on their ruins with prayers and torchlights. So what we got to do is put the Arcade priests' torches out, and the Forgotten Ones will do the rest. Bear in mind that this is contextually happening in utter pitch darkness, then this is freaking terrifying for the priests of Arcade. But with the Forgotten Ones once again free to live in misery and squalor, Ymera will gift us with her ring, something with not only the power to resist damage inflicted on us, but also to reflect it back on our attackers. 12% of regular damage and 10% from spells. Honestly, after wearing this thing, killing blows very often weren't coming from me, but rather from the enemy themselves, losing a little of their own health with every hit on us. This can also stack with other items to make the effects more potent. Another ring set, or a necklace, or all of the other armor slots, with things like the Ring of the Iron Fist and Amulet Maxes, which can each reflect damage by an additional 33%. Much more powerful. The last of the Daedric stage now. The Skull of Corruption isn't necessarily better than the other two, but it can be employed in combat most reliably. Now, the Mina's quest may be available from level 5, but the Offering of Quiet, a Black Soul Gem, is probably the most difficult of all Daedric offerings to obtain. The best thing to do is to probably proceed through the Mage's Guild questline, as you will eventually uncover a ritual by which to turn Grand Soul Gems into Black ones, though that ritual can only be performed once a week at certain locations, and it may require waiting around for days. With a Black Soul Gem finally in hand though, the Mina will send us on a very visually interesting quest to retrieve her orb from a wizard named Archbet. This will involve taking on a dungeon, seemingly rife with its own doors to oblivion, before finding the wizard locked in an eternal nightmare. Bradley will return it to Bermina, and she'll grant us her staff. The Skull of Corruption, unlike the other two, has 20 uses in a full charge, and when cast on a humanoid enemy, will summon a corrupted double to fight against them. After all, why waste time doing all the fighting ourselves when our enemies can fight their evil clones? There are still drawbacks to using this, of course. We don't gain much XP fighting this way, and whilst 20 charges may actually clear a dungeon, it still beats some soul gems like nobody's business. Mind you, if the enemy has a tendency to use summons, then their corrupted clone will do the same. And again, unlike Daedra from the Sanguine Rose, won't attack us, and will die the second that will start as well. Of course, we are limited into humanoids, which is basically the opposite of what the Rabbit can have an effect on. So actually, pairing these two staffs may not be a totally terrible idea. And again, when you're in a bind, taking the heat off with a summoned corrupted double can be a lifesaver. The much better of the two Daedric blunt weapons now, that makes more advanced, swings faster, does higher damage, and arguably have better chance than Donatron, though it also involves being level 17 before we can start the quest, which itself is very straightforward. We simply need to corrupt a righteous and by all means good man into becoming a murderer. Our murderer, by the hands of Olaf Barnes, comes place. Lois Vitellius lives nearby to the shrine, and sadly he lost his wife a while ago. She's buried in his house, and he'll visit her grave every day. All that we've got to do is drop the mace nearby, and then, when Alice is paying his respects, unclose Phillips, it's in my game, just casually punch the guy.
I have sworn not to raise a weapon in anger, but you have offended my honor in this most holy place. Prepare to die, devil.
Well, that really didn't take much. Like, I mean, we could just say we accidentally tripped and a fist got handed in his face. In fact, it sort of looks like the guy was just itching for an excuse to kill, and I think Roland Ball possibly
that. Anyway, Legend kills Mitchell's unequipped for Regan Era House members.
Now everybody wants to play here because we won the Stanley Cup.
Generosity will save us from death. Gift us place. And this thing is great for spell suits or spell places, I suppose. These are both absorbs and strength with each hit and their massacre. Basically, using this thing naturally makes us stronger and weaker, whilst also passively regenerating at the same time. Useful, especially on spellcasters. Again, we need to bring up the blood skill becomes already for it to have any viability in combat, so if that done, it is a decent weapon with 44 charges before freezing. Well, maybe some charge, but one of them is terrible. In terms of base damage, it does actually seem to beat both Daybreak and Ebony, so it's mostly a case of whether you're happy with these enchantments or to go with something else, fixing to build and otherwise sacrificing the artifact of a David Prince, people of Marlon Bar to save the world is somewhat more poetic than others. The Ring of Khajiit serves as the chivalry choice for any wannabe thief in Cyrodiil. Available from level 10, the Ring's quest is one of the most straightforward to complete, with the simple offering of ectoplasm or flesh or bone meal. It starts with Spurian, the ultimate hater of undead. It will task us with killing some necromancers in the cave. Simply do so and we'll get the Ring of Khajiit, because of course it's an important fact that all Khajiits are thieves. I'm going to get arrested for saying that. Round settings. Well, not a problem with this ring anyway, since the Ring of Khajiit becomes issued by 10 points, making it good for getting away and just casual travel, and more importantly, for stealth jobs, it grants 35% immediate. This one makes us entirely invisible. We still have something of an outline, but it does mean we can sneak past most people undetected, provided we don't go right up to them. It's also the most powerful convenient effect, I believe, that we can get on a single item, and it brings us over a third of the way to 100%. Now, 100% comedian is utterly broken. We are pretty much what we are, constantly invisible, and unlike the invisibility spell, we can still pursue actions without breaking the effects. We can enchant additional items for 20% comedian each, and there's also a transcendent sigil-stone effect, which can grant an additional 30%. In theory, you could achieve 100% comedian with just 4 items, one being the ring out of the...
I signed Steven Stamkos.
However,
You can play second line, and you don't have to play for Ashley.
Castings, which means hitting level 50. Now, you can choose this a bit by just spamming light spells until hitting that level, or just casting illusion in your general gameplay. And the spell itself can be used to bring the medium to 100, again, quite there with items, though you will have to remember then to keep casting it, since you'll need to stay at 100 medium to remain totally undetectable. And like literally, even mid-combat, you can still land those multiplier stealth attacks and utterly trivialize combat, even at higher difficulties, like in the Invisible Gods. It's a totally broken way to play, and the Ring of Khajiit is the best single item on the road to achieving it. But by itself, it also serves as a good general stealth aid. And whatever you do, but do not give the magical ring that turns him invisible to the character played by Sean Bean. Last time, when he tried to get his hands on one of those, well, it didn't end well. Ice, cold, blood, 0. Good to be getting right. The Old Man Finium, the little book granted to us by everybody's favourite knowledge-holding eldritch entity, Emmaus Mora. It's also the last of the main favourite items you'll obtain in this game. Mora's quest won't get underway until you've collected the rest of them, which technically doesn't make it unlockable until level 20 plus. And whilst the Old Man Finium is unquestionably great, Mora's quest to obtain it is something of a pain. See, some of his followers
souls, a curated selection of them with one soul from each of the main 10 races. In short, we'll have to go around and kill one of each of them, whilst at the same time remembering to cast Hermeas special soul trap spell beforehand. It does have a generous 2-minute effect, but even still, finding an enemy of each race can be time-consuming and generally just requires us to wait until we encounter them, all while remembering to use the spell. Now, there are certain places where most of the races do spawn in those forgotten ones from earlier on. For instance, encompass, I think, 6 of the races, if you want to get this done quickly, or else just keep playing naturally until you capture them all. The Ultimate Infinity is, of course, a one-time use major skill book, which can increase a selection of skills and attributes by 10 each, with the choice of warrior, thief, or mage-based buffs. It can be a great immediate buff to level you up a whole bunch more, but based on the game's difficulty scaling, that isn't intrinsically beneficial, save for the abilities unlocked by leveling those skills. But for those patient enough, the true power of the Ultimate Infinium is its ability to level the skills chosen and hunt 100s. That's the maximum we can obtain by natural means. But if we level each skill to 100 normally first, and then use the Ultimate Infinium, we can take the selected skills to 110. Now, this will be more beneficial for some skills than others. If you're a mage, it doesn't matter as much. Magic doesn't improve the power of our spells, but rather just unlocks the ability to cast higher level ones. Therefore, if you're going to choose the mage path, taking those skills to 110 is much more pointless, and you're better off just using the Ultimate Infinium straight away to unlock the better spells. The rounds of Steel and Shadow, where major skills like speed and strength can level, will see tangible benefits in getting to 110. So patience there can definitely be more helpful in the long run and can make the Ultimate Infinium all just a faster way to level. But given we'll be so late in the game at that point anyway, the benefits gained might not feel as beneficial by comparison. Pretty much all enchanted weapons in Cyrodiil have a charge, and when that depletes, they'll need replenishing with either a soul gem or Valastone. However, if we have a good loop going of replenishing souls with Soul Trap, all of these items will still be destroyed on use, forcing us ever to find more. That is all but one. Azura's Star is, of course, the usable soul receptacle, able to hold anything up to grand souls, and it's well worth making a beeline for from level 2 onwards when becoming available. Another very straightforward quest, similar to Meridia's actually. We literally just go into a cave and kill some of Azura's former followers. Heroes who, in the process of killing vampires, became the vampires themselves. And as thanks for our services, will be given the star. Definitely not something I'd recommend giving up, as pretty much every build can benefit from enchantments or enchanted items. Spellbreaker, whilst not necessarily being the best shield in the entire game, it's definitely up there in the top 5, say. And given it scales with us and can be obtained from level 10, it's well worth going and grabbing the moment that quest becomes available. There's not many items you can use in your offhand in Oblivion, with a shield generally being the best bets. Now, when we arrive at Periite's Shrine, we'll find something is immediately terribly wrong. See, in attempting to summon Periite to them, his foolish followers nearly wound up trapping their souls in Oblivion. No need for an offering this time, given the urgency of the situation. We instead need to travel to a plane of Oblivion and quickly run to all the Greek compass markers. Simply interacting with each of these souls will be enough to send them back to their bodies, after which we'll also have to reach a portal to get ourselves home. There's no need to fight the Daedra if you don't want to. It's mostly just a quick game of tag. And with all that done, Periite will gift us his shield Spellbreaker as thanks. And it's actually the most valuable Daedric artifacts of the bunch in terms of acceptance. Again, like with other Daedric artifacts, its base protection can be beaten by the likes of Daedric, though its enchantment is actually seriously powerful, with the same ability to reflect spell damage as seen on Mirror's Ring, only this time at a rate of 30%. Hence the name Spellbreaker. Again, it is a bit situational at best used against spellcasters, but it is funny to see necromancers and such continue to die by their own spells. Mostly though, it's good to just have this, at least until level 25, as it'll just level up with you, and you won't have to worry about finding better shields. Having a shield in general is just best for parrying enemy attacks, staying protected. Though once reaching level 25, and only once doing so, you'll want to complete the quest of the Father, part of the Raynor and Gilbert Germain questline, Coral, and return the on-blade to